Keir Starmer's position on the winter fuel allowance for the elderly has significantly shifted, indicating a notable policy change within his administration. Starmer and his Labour Party initially criticised the Conservative government for considering welfare alterations, including the winter fuel allowance, designed to assist pensioners with heating costs during colder months. However, after taking office, Starmer's government and Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced a policy to means test the winter fuel payments. This effectively removed the benefit from around 10 million pensioners who do not claim pension credit. The decision aimed to save £1.5 billion and was part of broader fiscal measures to address a £22 billion budget deficit inherited from the previous government. The policy shift has been met with considerable backlash from the opposition, within Labour ranks and the public, as highlighted by various reactions on platforms like X, formerly Twitter. Critics, including former Labour figures and current MPs, have accused Starmer of hypocrisy, pointing out his previous criticisms of the Conservatives for similar considerations. Many saw the move as a U-turn or flip-flop because it contradicted Labour's previous commitments and Starmer's statements about protecting vulnerable groups like pensioners. This decision came at a time when energy prices were set to rise, making removing the allowance particularly contentious. The policy change was not only about fiscal responsibility, but also sparked a debate on fairness, with many arguing that it disproportionately affects those on fixed incomes who rely on these payments to manage increased winter heating costs. The sentiment on X and broader public discourse reflects a mix of disappointment, anger, and calls for a U-turn on this policy. Critics argue that this move could lead to increased hardship among the elderly, potentially affecting their health due to their inability to afford adequate heating. There's also a broader discussion on the ethics of means testing benefits for the elderly, questioning the societal values and the government's commitment to its most vulnerable citizens. In response to the backlash, there have been calls for Starmer to reconsider this policy, with some suggesting that alternative revenue sources like wealth taxes or closing tax loopholes for the wealthy could have been explored instead of cutting pensioner benefits. This situation underscores new government's challenges in balancing fiscal responsibility with social welfare, especially when it involves reversing campaign promises or long-standing policies.